We live? Seems like we're live. I want to check though. Things are working okay. I'm assuming that it's working fine. Right? I'm assuming that it's working fine. Is it working fine? Can't really tell. Pull up on headphones. Is it working fine? Can't really tell. Yes. It's working okay. Let's say that this microphone, when I bought it, I was assuming it would be 10 times better than it actually is. It's not the best. Not the best thing out there, but we do what we can, don't we? We do what we can. Anyways, this is gonna be a very short stream, around 30 minutes, is what I want to make it, and it's gonna be pretty simple in how I want to structure it. Normally, what I would do, hold on, let me check Twitch is live and it's everything okay. Check Twitch is live and it's everything okay. Check Twitch is live and it's everything. Let's switch this out. Make this just chatting, because I will be just chatting. But okay. As I get more into producing content now that it's summer, I have pretty much nothing to do. There's some things going on in the background, you know. But in terms of deep preoccupation, I don't have that much to be doing, right? So the strategy is going to be to try and get the live stream thing going while I do the more planned and produced content, simply because doing that other content takes much longer than doing this, right? And in a way, this will serve as an update on those bigger pieces that will come out later. So we uploaded this video around a month ago, the Peru crisis video, if you will remember that. What happened to my camera here? Peru video right here. It's doing pretty good. There's some things that I want to patch out in terms of how content comes out, in terms of the algorithm and stuff like that. I realized that maybe I should look a little more into it, considering that I, number one, don't care about what's it called? Don't care about copyright and anything of that sort, which probably does not boost my chances in the algorithm, but it's okay. It's an okay turnout for what it was, for the type of video that I made. But to boost things a little bit, you know, we might have to switch around. But also in terms of the thumbnails, which I kind of just make without really paying much attention, if that is a good way to put it. Paying much attention to the algorithm, okay? I kind of make them just how I would like it to look, and not figuring out what is profitable. But I don't know if making that that trade is worth it. In any case, if I should compromise the artistic value of the channel for it, if you know what I mean. But we're figuring all that stuff out. I think it might also have to do with the fact that I've become aware of the fact that much of the content before was a little shitty. So trying to boost that out might be beneficial. But in any case, let's explain how this will work, what this is to begin with, because it's a bit confusing, probably, maybe, I don't know. I had many avenues of content creation for a long time. You know, I have Twitch, and I had some podcast channels. When I got into that podcast phase that everyone gets into at some point, you know, let's not lie here, you did it too. But I've been trying to condense these. I figured that it is pointless to do some massive type of project where I have 17 different channels. They're all weirdly mixed, and they have, of course, different content within them, but This one, the random show, doesn't necessarily need to be under one explicit guideline, and it can fit all those other content types. So I thought, let's just do that instead of having all the other ones. I feel that is the most sensible thing to do. So I thought I would begin by trying to fit all of that back into this one. A step in that direction is, of course, making the live stream. Because the live stream is something that I did on Twitch. Sometimes it was like once every month. But it was a bit faster than the YouTube uploads, of course, which took about once every year. But I'm trying to crack down on everything. This is something, content creation in general, although I'm very inexperienced, and as you might have noticed from my videos even, they're not the most professional, but I've been trying to crack down on those. It's something that I enjoy doing, even if it doesn't provide anything in terms of even success or people watching it. It's something that I enjoy, so I'll keep on doing it. But that means, cracking down, mixing things together, and having it be the most cohesive it can. But yes, in anyways, I think that is the purpose of these live streams, to update people on how the content is going, how it will be, possibly even do some live streams here and then here and there, actually talking about something. Because as I said before, I had this one podcast I did a while ago. I had like 3 episodes. It was nothing crazy. But if I could condense that into this channel as well and do live experience type podcasting with issues that I care about or that I don't see reporting on, or even issues that I will then add to the video, I find that to be a good thing to do. So yes, that is the purpose initially of these live streams. I decided to do them on YouTube and Twitch through Restream, but we will see how that goes. Okay, there might be a switch to other platforms. There might be other things to expand on. Those are more for the future. In any case, what am I working on? Well, there's a lot of things, okay? I wanted to do this also because there's an interestingly big amount of video ideas that I have ready. This has not happened in the past, and it is one of the reasons why it takes me always so long to come up with a video, more than anything because I don't really have many ideas, and it's kind of like this struggle of wanting to create but not having anything necessarily to say. It's not a necessity to say something with your media, but I kind of want to. But I've had a lot of ideas in the barrel for a while now. Let me turn on some music very quickly. And we're seeing how we can put those to work. Let me pull up the Notion. I use Notion for most of the video creation stuff. I used to have it all organized on Drive, but I've moved on to Notion. Anyway, I can see the live dashboard through here. Maybe. I want to see if it's... I want to enable the chat. Is the chat on? Oh, okay, maybe it's on and I just can't see it. But okay, I'm opening Notion now so we can see all these stuff. Here's a tab of YouTube scripts. It's a bit of a spoiler, but who cares? Nope. 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 We got these YouTube scripts, Peru, of course, which just completed. I'm not deleting them because, the whole sentimental value. But we have a couple of things. These right here are the ones that I've been focusing on as priority. Immediately after I finished the Peru video, I started working on the Lost Italian Revolution, the Biennio Rosso, from in the 1920s, when some events in Italy could have led to a possible revolution, and some argue that the conditions were there for such a thing to occur, but it didn't end up happening, obviously. And because it didn't happen, it could have prevented, in a way, the ascension of the fascists, or it helped in the ascension of fascists. It's a little complicated. It's still being structured. It's still being written. There's one of the crises in Jujuy, which is one I want to talk about a little more in this stream right now, because it is very important, and it is one that I wasn't planning on doing, of course, because it is based on recent events happening in Argentina, which I thought were important to cover. And I looked online to actually try to find something, and I wasn't able to find any English-speaking media sources outside of, you know, the classic mainstream Reuters, those type of people covering it. So I thought it would be a nice addition to the overall sphere. So these are the two I've been focusing on, particularly the crisis in Jujuy. We have one in Javier Milei. Javier Milei, for those of you that don't know, is a conservative presidential candidate, potentially, in Argentina. He is one of those people that do like very extreme libertarian type of posturing. It is very weird. Some of the stuff he said is crazy, and the reason why I wanted to make a video on him is mainly the fact that it is very interesting. Let's just say that he makes a lot of quirky comments, a lot of very weird. I think there was one time he participated in like a Comic-Con and or some type of event where he had to cosplay, and he cosplayed as this character known as ANCAP Man. Let me see if I can find it. El General ANCAP. Capitán ANCAP. So he's just a very goofy guy, you know, and I think it's worth covering because while he can be very goofy, at the same time, the things he says are very dangerous, and so it's important to look into. We also have revolution in film. This one, I was going to make a broader video on how revolution is portrayed in film more generally, but after not being able to find that many movies that dealt with revolution openly, at least not of a class essence or worth for me analyzing, not that the movies were bad, but they just didn't have what I was looking for, I decided to settle on the movie Salvador. Who made it, by the way? Who directed it? Just want to check that. War movie by Oliver Stone. An American war drama film. It's very good. You should watch it. But it had some interesting things to say about revolution and class struggle and all of that, so it was important. It's imperialism, especially. And I thought I would make a video about it. And here it is. This one I just haven't started working on much of anything. I outlined, I had some possible films, which, as I said, I narrowed down to Salvador, possible sources on Marxism and movies, things of that sort, but not much is settled on these two. The Javier Milei one, I do have an intro written, albeit a very bad one, and probably will be either deleted completely or changed, but the other ones are okay. This one I also don't have much. I have a basic intro. The reason why I wanted to focus additionally on the Italian video is because I was traveling to Italy, already traveled to Italy. I have some pictures, as a matter of fact, we can show very briefly. But so I wanted to record some things there and maybe try that out, but again, I have this mental incapacity to get videos done on time, so that didn't happen. I wasn't able to record shit in Italy, and so yeah, that's not happening there, and I might have to rework that entire intro section because it's not very good. It's very rushed just to get the pictures in there. We have some pictures of Rome. By the way, it's insane. It's really pretty. An amazing city. I went to Rome, Venice, Florence, some other places here and there, and it's insane. If you like very ancient history, by the way, it's really good. Florence had a little bit more, or Florence, no, Bergamo. I went to Bergamo as well. That place had a lot more modern pictures and modern history stuff, particularly having to do with the Second World War, which I was more interested in, to be honest, the ancient history, which is still very interesting. We had an amazing guide. Which, by the way, okay, I'm going all over the place, but the guide that was with us in the Rome tour of the Roman Forum, be seen right here, this place right here, the Roman Forum. He had a shirt. It was like a red shirt, and it said, like neoliberalism and war incompatible, or incompatibilidad, so incompatibility with war and neoliberalism. It was strange, but I appreciate it. Okay, I don't know what it wanted to say or what possible group it may belong to. Maybe I will take back my words at a later point when I find out what it actually means. But yeah, I appreciated the gesture. Put it that way. So I wanted to make a video having to do with something Italian because I was going to Italy. I also read this brief article online on the Vienna Rosso. I believe it was from the Marxist Institute, something of that sort. And that is how it became. And finally we reach the topic of the next video. This one will probably be the one I've written quite a bit already, and like this is all I've written today alone. So this one will probably go very quickly. I'm very interested in this topic. It hits home, as some of you might know. I'm from Argentina, so this is a good call from the homeland. I have to do an analysis on it. And to quickly summarize the situation, this will be a very bad analysis of it. One, because I don't have all the information ready at this point. I like to present it in video format precisely because I can correct my mistakes and I can make adjustments, make commentary for the video that can then be corrected. In a live setting, that does not happen, and I will be making mistakes at some point, potentially. But the crisis in Jujuy is very interesting because it is something that is now present in Jujuy, but is more widely something that has been continued, that has happened a lot, let's put it that way, in South America in general. Even Peru, the topic of discussion for our last video, had some of this in some ways. Very prominently even, let's say that. So Jujuy and the northern region of Argentina is well known for its mining operations. It is a very deep mining zone. Let me see if I can pull up a map that I was using earlier today of the mining industry in Argentina. This is from the government, by the way. It's not just pulling stuff out of my ass, but here is a map showing the general mining regions of Argentina. Fuck me, dude. I need to optimize moving time. These are more generally. The south is more known for gold and some iron, but you can see a high presence in the north, and particularly for the topic of the video, lithium. Lithium has become increasingly important worldwide, not just in Argentina. Oh my god. Due to a general transition socially and economically to renewable sources of energy. When we're talking about electric cars, electric vehicle, any type of vehicle, those require batteries, of course. They are electric, they use batteries. And the batteries, as I understand it, okay, I'm not a scientist, I don't have a great expansive knowledge on the topic, but as I understand it, batteries are made out of lithium, as it stands currently and as they are produced in the mainstream. So lithium has become, with the push to supposedly green technology, a very important resource. And in these countries, in these overexploited and over, if you want to say colonialized, or though imperialized, I'm not sure that's a word. I'm not sure that's a word, but overexploited nations whose entire industry is controlled by foreign demand and foreign needs and foreign markets. These areas have become much more essential in terms of the Argentine economic sphere. And so mining operations in those regions have intensified. And the problem with this is that lithium, as I sort of alluded to, is not necessarily a sustainable or green practice, lithium mining. There's a lot of issues that it causes. I will not be going into a lot of depth on those because it's very deep. I do have some things that I will mention in the video, but again, that content is highly edited. This one is not. I don't want to go into speculation here. But it can poison the waterways, it can do all that sort of stuff. And as you will imagine, these regions filled with native communities are not so happy about that, right? Imagine you've been living in a place your entire life, your ancestors have been living there too, and then a mining operation sets up nearby in the near canyon or whatever, and due to the operation that will then produce lithium to be used elsewhere, not even in your country, the waterways are poisoned. You can no longer safely drink water that you used to before. Some of your territory is probably taken due to necessity or whatever, or for the mining operation to even continue, and so on and so on. It can lead to a lot of problems in essence, and that is what has happened. So Jujuy and the entire region has historically been a part of conflict between indigenous communities and the mining operations and mining companies that are in the region. Understandably so, right? There's a lot of things happening in there. Now, the problem that we see currently and the protests that we see currently start and begin to grow in relation to the constitution of Jujuy. Jujuy, as you will imagine, and this is a little related in some ways to what we were talking about in the Peru video, the constitution of Jujuy is very neoliberal in its structure, and it permits for a lot of things that are dubious in terms of who it benefits, right? Mining corporations are highly influential in the region after all, and because of that, they are able to have a say in how things play out. Recently, what has happened, let me see if I can find a good source on this. A constitutional assembly of sorts, a constitutional convention, I think is the correct term, approved a reform to the constitution of Jujuy. Okay, here we go. I found it. It's in Spanish, but I can do my best to translate and explain it a little bit further. Thank you, by the way, and Scienti. I'm glad that it is not easy to understand. These are not necessarily easy things, but that I'm able to explain it well enough that someone gets it. Because sometimes it feels like I'm just ranting about very weird stuff. But okay. So, recapping, There is a constitutional convention to reform the established constitution, and in these reforms, two articles are changed. Article 50, first of all, which talks about the rights of the native communities living in the region, particularly in relation to their private property and what land belongs to them and what they can do with the land and what the state and other companies can do to that land. That's number one. And I believe the second one, hold on. Yeah, so it's mainly that one, from what I've been able to find. But also Article 36, which goes a little bit further into the private property stuff. So essentially what it says is that the Constitution acknowledges the existence of ethnic and cultural communities within Jujuy, and it grants them the right to their identity, spirituality, heritage, and other stuff like that. That is what the old article said. Okay, the original article from 1986. It also stated that the state, the government, was in charge of recognizing not only the legal status of these communities within the territory, but also their possession of those, as well as other stuff guaranteeing in a way that these indigenous communities had ownership or control over the region. But this article was essentially completely nullified in the newly reformed constitution. Additionally, another part that was removed is Article 36, as I mentioned, and this one granted right to private property. And private property is important because it goes both ways a little bit, right? These native communities need the state to allow them to have some sort of private property in order to maintain these lands, which have historically been threatened by multiple different, sides and entities. The government itself, through colonialization very early on in the history of Argentina, was, much like in the U.S., very violent and very aggressive in its expansion. This is why in Argentina you see a very, very, very low number of native communities, even if it's quite large in terms of other places, like the U.S. I think. I'm not entirely certain on the native situation in the U.S. But also they need this private property to defend themselves against other corporations who might be wanting to interfere into this region. It goes both ways, and I say this because while they maintain sovereignty to some of the land, enterprises who buy land in this place also have a title to it, and as such can increase mining, as we've seen, hurting the environment and do many of those type of things. So it's a double-sided coin in the sense that the communities needed to maintain sovereignty, but also having that right for everyone. You can't just say indigenous communities, or you can, but it doesn't say so. Allows for other people, corporations more specifically, to come in and do whatever they want with the land, in essence. I want to check if there's anything in here more to mention. There's Article 67. This is very important for the protest, that after the reform basically states that you can't organize, you can't protest, you can't have a number of people in a single place protesting for something, basically destroying the right of people to protest, which is not good. And people are going to protest even more if you do this. Quick tip, player tip. Player tip. If there are groups of people protesting, and what you do instead of, listening to the demands of those people is cancel their right to protest, they will do it more. I didn't think this would be too hard to understand, but apparently officials don't get the idea, or they don't care, to be honest. These are groups of historically compromised, if that's a good word to use, historically weakened groups of people that they know has no ability to directly influence lawmaking or decision making in the country, and as such they can target them very easily. But okay, this constitutional reform, getting back on track, caused a lot of uproar within Native communities because it basically disrupted the way that they live, and add into the, what we mentioned of lithium mining destroying the environment and making living in these areas very difficult, to the fact that they now want to remove a lot of rights that ensured that some of these companies were kept at bay, even if slightly, like protesting, like closing roads, which is a very popular thing in the region, Argentina more generally, but in that region as well. And you will have a massive problem. You will have an explosion event, if you want to call it that. And that is what happened. A lot of protesters took to the street once again, protesting the reform. Everything being, from what I've heard, generally peaceful. Some criticism that I got when I was reviewing comments from my video on Jujuy was that apparently some people think, that the fact that some protesters blew up a car or something like that they threw a stone at a policeman, now that makes brutality justifiable. That makes throwing tear gas canisters at protesters perfectly fine. That's not the case, of course. I don't think I should even have to say that, but the protests in Jujuy were mostly, to my knowledge, entirely even peaceful and without much what you would consider radical action, I suppose, although that's a strange way to put it even. So people take to the streets, they close some streets off with barricades and stuff like that, and the police, which obviously is very short-circuited, that's not. I'm coming to find that making live content is much harder than I thought. The police, which is not very smart in a lot of scenarios, instead of trying to, once again, listen to the demands of the people or de-escalate the situation, grabs a bunch of police assault units and starts the repression, which causes more protest and more repression, and violence escalates. That is how things happened in Peru, although in Peru, and it is how things are happening here. But it is very, very sad. There's a lot of videos online. I won't show any because they're pretty violent, and it shows the destruction, first of all, caused by the entire conflict, but also the extent of police repression in the region, and how dire conditions are for those communities and the people protesting. Today or yesterday, hold on. I have this article from 2 days ago. Showing the preparation of police for more assaults. Important to show because it basically covers what I'm talking about in terms of police reaction. But as you can see, police come fully equipped, and we just see protesters, who are everyday people, with just their backpacks, maybe a rock or something that they can fight back with. But as usual, it is a complete there is a complete difference in strength in terms of brutality and what you will usually see in the media. In conservative media, of course, but liberal media as well, is the portrayal of these protesters, these people, which, if you want me to show you the video, you can quite clearly see are not armed insurrectionist groups or anything. They're just average people who, due to their dire situation, have been forced to take action in the streets, to protest in the streets, are portrayed once again as if they were the fucking IRA in its peak terrorist activity or something, right? And by creating this portrayal and creating this image in the general public, what the establishment is then able to do is further provide reinforcement, further oppress the people, and basically destroy any attempts at change. That's how things normally go. I'm reading right now. This is just interesting. It's not necessarily super related, although maybe it is. Maybe it's more related than I think. I started reading the book The Jakarta Method by, I believe, Isaac Blevin? Something Blevin. Vince Blevin? Vince Blevin? Vincent Blevins. Bevins. And it talks about Washington intervention abroad and the pattern that Washington uses for all of this stuff. And it's very interesting because it shows, although slightly because it focuses more on the events happening and the direct action of Washington and the U.S. government on foreign affairs. There are these quick sections that talk about media reception to events happening, and it is always a complete distortion of the reality. It always has the portrayal of the protesting groups or the people, to put it broadly, of foreign nations as aggressive and savage and causing disturbances, and the military, supported of course by the Americans, as the saviors and the peacekeepers and the pacifiers of otherwise tribalistic and savage peoples, which is absolutely insane. It is very crazy. Whole thing is very crazy. So that's what I've been focusing on, how events are unfolding. So I try to keep up as best as possible. I'm in some Telegram groups to try to gain info directly from the source, but that's complex. I tried the same in the Peru video, and it didn't work out the best. All the videos, that is, a positive, I will admit. All the videos that I had in the intro section are from Telegram groups, which is how I tested their validity. Maybe that's not the best idea. All these videos right here. Hold on, let me try to find it. These videos. All these videos I collected from Telegram groups about the Peru situation. Where was I? And so yes, it's an ongoing investigation, let's put it that way. Things will probably change, but that is all I have for right now. That's it. That's the update. Quick little talk about how things are going in the channel. I will continue to keep people updated. I was planning on doing this type of streamed content daily on the channel, because now that I can restream, I can do it very easily. But I might do it differently. I'm not entirely sure yet. This was good though. I enjoyed this. I had a lot more to talk about than I originally thought. I thought this would be very brief. Nothing would be said. It was just gonna be a bit pointless. But it was okay. It was good. But yeah. That will be it. I think that's it. I need to do some more stuff right now. New Lil Uzi Vert album came out and I haven't listened to it, and it's been itching me. Cause look at this. Okay, this is completely outside of what we've been talking about, but it's important. Okay, it's essential to the investigation work. This album, the Pink Tape, just came out. I've been expecting it for a while. I like Lil Uzi. I don't like him that much, but I like some songs, so I was excited for this. Why is it 1 hour and 30 minutes, bro? Come on. Why? Why is it always like this? I like something and it has to be long, and I don't want it to be long. And I have to wait until I go to the gym to listen to it, because I'm not about to sit here for an hour and 30 minutes listening to music, just not doing anything. That's not gonna happen. Maybe I'm being spoiled by short albums. There's recently been this one that came out, I think, a few weeks ago, as a matter of fact. Maybe I'm wrong. Beloved Paradise Jazz. I don't know where it came out. I don't know why Spotify doesn't say when exactly it came out, but Beloved Paradise Jazz by McKinley Dixon. And it is fantastic, and it is just 30 minutes. This is what I'm talking about. If I like some of the songs in here, I will repeat them for an hour and 30. But I don't want to be listening to 1 hour and 30 minutes worth of different songs. Maybe this is... I think people will not agree with this, okay? I'll just state it, but yeah. Let's listen to this and finish off. And it's crazy. Right? That is it. That is it for today. I don't think I have much worth to say. I'll try to stream tomorrow, but if not, I'll do it in a once every couple of days type of thing. Okay, peace out.
Running from the guns breaks my heart if you decide to fly away now. Running from the guns, I am running from the guns. I make the devil mad dancing with you. All the angels looking jealous cause your halo is hoops. Hovering over your shoulders, wings usually is folded. I'm not used to extending them to tell you the truth. Pull me off the wall, growing my roots. Sheesh, what I'm running from, following suit. We need a more distance so they wouldn't pursue. Cause up here I'm making Icarus envious too. Of my souls and wings and freedoms. And the songs they'll sing when I see them. Moving on my own, put the dreaming aside. Everybody on the porch looked up to the sky. Friends getting mad, but before they knew, suddenly my niggas started lifting up too. Through the clouds, brown shoulders broke right on through. With eyes watching God, my heart stays on. Running from the guns, point and shoot. We used to play upon the playground. Bang, bang. Running from the guns, who thought hardest part would be for me to stay down. Running from the guns breaks my heart if you decide to fly away now. Running from the guns, I am running from the guns. I saw that boy, then I saw his souls, wondering what songs this canary holds. Glad he off the wall and his wings unfold. Whole block gon' cheer when he makes it home. Holding heavy hearts really makes it worse. Till we found the only way for us to lift this curse. If we run to a place where they know our worth. Son talk said it's not my last day on earth. Hurry up, it's across the ridge. My grandson wants to fly, so I scratch that itch. And if niggas crying with their arms raised, that should imply that I'm in this bitch. Nice on the car hood, laid out, crucified, grew much more from the love that you provide. Standing on stage, hold back, both teary eyes, looking at my niggas like I'm glad all of you survived. We can make that work. No, you was tripping on being locked to the earth. Worry later, no time for us to focus on what's past tense. And besides, now Brahms getting over the fence. So lock both your hands, act like you been on sitting on fireworks. You know my kinfolk, 12 round the corner, they judging our sins. Ho, once your feet hit that gravel, nigga just run. Running from the guns, point and shoot. We used to play upon the playground. Running from the guns, who thought hardest part would be for me to stay.